So my assumption here is that there's some founders in here, aspiring founders, or recovering founders, or whatever stage you're in the founding journey. And my hope, I just have a quick little deck here to help you get crystal clear on what you're doing, right? So there are some handouts, and we're going to start with, I think it's important to show up in the room by doing a little bit of thinking. So there's a Mad Lib for a company. So I need from you guys to give me the name of a made-up company, as weird as possible.
Icebreakers.
Icebreakers. Okay, Icebreakers. And what's an oddly specific offering that Icebreakers offers?
With AI.
Okay, almost there. Okay, Icebreakers breaks ice. We're really digging deep here, you guys. And what's a very specific audience? Doesn't need to be human, by the way. For seagulls?
Oh.
Singles. Okay, so Icebreakers is breaking ice for singles. And that solves a specific problem. What problem is that solving?
Meeting people after COVID, right? Like what Dave just said.
Meeting people, okay. And their secret sauce with ice breaking is AI. Right, we already got this. I mean, you're way ahead of me. Okay, so my company, Icebreakers, is developing ice breaking to help singles to break the ice with AI.
We did it.
I mean, we just made another startup already here. So this exercise that you all have, it's just a way to try as succinctly as possible. And you don't have to found the company to be able to do this. But and sometimes it's even more entertaining when your founder or your leadership team hasn't done a good job communicating to you, so you can't even answer this for the company you work for. But it's a really great way to try and get clear on what are we doing here with this business, right? And it's pretty easy. It's easy enough that my 9-year-old did it last night. She has a business, I think it runs in the family. It's called Moonmarks. My company, Moonmarks, is developing fun bookmarks to help book lovers to keep their spot in their favorite books with super artistic bookmarks. So I think she's shaking down all of her classmates to buy bookmarks. So I hope that's going well for her. And here's a real-world example from not a 9-year-old. My company, Metronome, is developing music rehearsal facilities to help musicians to practice music as loud as they want, whenever they want, with 24/7 access to safe and reliable practice rooms. Okay, so I saw you filling out stuff. Did you already fill yours out?
I thought I was supposed to. So.
No, that's good. No, it's great. So we'll get back to that in a minute, but you have it for a reason. So who is this guy, Paul? So I'll just tell you really quickly, me in 2 slides, because I don't really enjoy talking about myself, but I play the drums. This is a family photo. I have 3 kids and an awesome wife. I spin fire. I run a Burning Man camp. I love to snowboard, and I like to make immersive art installations. That's life stuff, business stuff. I've had the pain and joy of running and selling a handful of companies in music technology, music equipment manufacturing, event production, a culture agency, commercial real estate, hospitality business, and my current project that I'm focusing on is a music rehearsal facility business, which is a lot of fun. And by the way, on the commercial real estate front, if any of you have a really ugly office building between 10 and 20,000 square feet, talk to me after.
I know that building, that's it's a union headquarters, isn't it?
Just tell me later. Okay, so, and my friends call me Disco. Okay, so if you call me Disco, then we're cool. So back to the whole getting crystal clear thing. So running a company is really hard. It's an emotional roller coaster, and it feels like this a lot, right? It's a really, really lonely gig. It's one of the reasons why we started Startups, and that was a peer-to-peer mentorship where you can ask each other honest questions and a lot of things that you can't talk about in front of your team, right? It's a really tough road. And so you're always seeking answers, but I found that sometimes it's easier to start with just great questions, right? So I'm going to give you 6 questions. You already have them, but I'm going to go through them because I found that these are really helpful in creating clarity. Okay, so there's 3 categories: your company, your customer, and you. And the point of these is to just get really real with yourself. So starting with the company questions, what is your company's purpose? So sometimes people confuse mission with purpose. A purpose is why you exist, right? A mission is all the stuff you do to achieve your purpose, right? And so a lot of companies, in my observation, including myself, you skip the purpose part and you're focused on the mission. It's an easy way to lose or to not even establish your North Star. So what is your company's purpose? And answer it very succinctly in one phrase or one sentence. And then, even more importantly, how specifically does your offering achieve that purpose? Because it's really easy when you owe rent, or when you're trying to retain your team, or when shit sucks, to do things you're not supposed to be doing to keep the train on the tracks. And sometimes that turns into a giant distraction that really doesn't help your business. Okay, so customer questions. That's how your customers feel when you're not clear with them. So are you solving a significant problem? Right? Sometimes you like to solve problems that are convenient. They're more features and products, right? Or they're more trendy, or they feel important, but they're not significant. And this is a yes or no question, right? Be brutally honest with yourself. So if it's no, if your answer is like, okay, I'm being real with myself, like, no, it's not a significant problem. Instead of starting the whole company over, I found that if you just look at it and say, if I could just change one thing about this and change that, what is it? This just happened with a company that I'm working with where their TAM wasn't big enough. Their total addressable market wasn't big enough. And if they just took that same exact product and faced it over towards these people over here, all of a sudden this was a really exciting business, and they started to create a lot of momentum. And really it was more about changing the names of things than changing the actual product. So customer question number 2, do your customers organically refer you to new customers, right? Without you like shaking it out of them, right? So if yes, that's great. So why specifically? Because usually there's like the 80-20 rule is real, right? It's like, what's that one thing that really gets them to tell somebody about what you're doing, right? That's a really important thing to know. And similar to the other question, if your answer is no, your customers don't organically refer you to new customers, can one specific tweak change that for them, right? Because sometimes there's this conflict between what they really want and what's profitable for you to give them. Is there something very simple that you can tweak to make a material impact on that and be really concise with it? I left the most confused look for the you questions. That's how I feel sometimes thinking about myself. Okay, could you find a job that's way easier and less stressful that pays decent? Yes or no? Okay. So if yes, then why are you doing this? Right? This is a really important one because most entrepreneurs, some are not employable, but most entrepreneurs are very employable people, right? You have a lot of value you can be providing to another employer and probably make a lot of money and have a less stressful life. But inside of this answer is an important North Star for you to be aware of. Sentimental attachment. I'm not sure that's a great one. I mean, just go down on a limb here.
I see that a lot, bar rescue and kitchen nightmares.
What are those?
People that are overly attached to their business, no matter how bad it's failing, and also the stubbornness of.
Sorry. You're talking about actual bars.
Yeah.
Okay. It sounds like a TV show, Bar Rescue. Oh, they're TV shows. I watch like no TV. Okay. Okay, so could you find a job that's way easier and less stressful that pays decent? If the answer is no, then you better make this fucking work. This business is all you've got. Okay, so this is an important one. So if you answered yes to the prior question, then does your why you're doing this, even though you could have a great job with low stress doing something else, align with your company's purpose, right? This is how we bring it back together. Because if it's yes, then that's really awesome. You've got a lot of clarity, and you should have a lot of gravity when you're talking about what you're doing or where you're headed, when you're recruiting people, when you're talking to customers, when you're looking for investors, trying to get people on your boat. And if your answer is no, do you need to tweak your company purpose? Like, did you literally start a company that you shouldn't work at? Like, should you replace yourself? Like, I just did this. I just replaced myself at a particular company. So, or, is it like, maybe I shouldn't do this? And something we always said at Starbucks, which is really important, there's a lot of like attempted sainthood in like killing yourself to run your business. And it's okay to be honest with yourself and stop. It's like not a popular thing to say. But if you're just doing it because you think you should, and you're asking yourself some of these questions or other questions, and it's really, really, really not working, it's totally okay to stop, or it's totally okay to completely change what you're doing and try something else. So just if you're wondering about that, Disco gave you permission to stop if you had to.
I mean, it's more than okay, though. It's actually, like, extremely important.
It is.
Like, if you don't, like, the whole point of iteration and all these things is to, like, learn something that's going to help you be more successful going forward. And, like, a lot of this, like, I don't want to stop, can't stop, it's like guilt about stopping. Very specifically saying, I'm going to ignore some reality, right? And say, like, or putting off a moment that really specifically challenges you to reflect,
Mm-hmm.
right? And so it's completely the opposite of the nature of what it takes to be successful in this.
It's a balance of measuring the daily rejection and like lack of tailwind of being a founder, and just knowing in your bones when you should be done, because the can't stop, won't stop, hustle every day is like entrepreneurs are constantly encouraging each other because it's a lonely gig, no one's helping you, it's hard. Some of your employees love you, some of your employees hate your guts, your investors are pissed, the market's hard, It's just like a lot of headwind. So I think it's a balance, right? You can't just say, oh, it got hard, okay, totally quit, no big deal, because no one starts a company because they're a reasonable person. Like, it's just not a reasonable thing to do, because, I mean, look at the stats that Dave showed, right? There's nothing reasonable about starting a company when there's like a 98% chance of failure. You have to really, really want to pull it out of the earth, which is part of the reason why I think being honest with yourself, whatever the questions you ask yourself are, whatever process you go through, that you try and keep yourself North Starred. And it's not just for you. When you're North Starred, your whole team everyone you're working with will be all the way down to your customers, right? So getting real with yourself. On the company side, the questions, do you have a clear purpose? Is it aligned with your offering for your customers? Are you solving a significant problem for a significant audience? And is there organic growth? It tells you a lot about your velocity and momentum. And then why are you doing this? And then does your why align with the purpose, right? So this was like a big thing for me. I have no idea if it'll be useful for you. I hope it will be. But something I talk about a lot, just having done it wrong a lot of different ways, is, clarity equals gravity. I'm a big believer in gravity. And if you're clear, that gravity does a lot for you. It creates focus, power, momentum. It's a really, really helpful thing for you to get super clear. So that's it. That's what I got for you. I think we're going to do a chit chat now, right?
Absolutely.